Hi guys, this is the advisor and welcome back to my channel. Now, after putting out my last video saying why I think that CTOC and its boss, the Deputy Commissioner of Police, Fitz Bailey, are really either crooked or stupid, somebody messaged me and gave me a challenge. They chided me off first, gave me a sort of dressing down, and then they gave me a challenge. Now, these people don't know who they are talking to. They do not realize who the advisor is. Anyway, they told me that I should not have been coming down, and they said in the message that I should not be coming down on Fitz Bailey so hard because it is the amount of years on the job that has taught him that nothing can be done except to confiscate the guns. And since experience teacheth wisdom, and the wisdom is take what you can get rather than try and lose everything. That is the reason why he opted for doing what he did. And the person went on to say that it's a male. The person went on to say, quote, you said it yourself, that even if someone came for the shipment, there is no way that the court can prove that that person knew what was in the shipment, and therefore the court would be hard-pressed to prove mens rea. Remember that word, mens rea. So how can you then say that the police should not take what it could get when you admit that it might be impossible to get a conviction even if someone came for the barrel and was arrested? Okay, fair, yeah, okay, fine. But let's look at the word mens rea. It actually means having a criminal intention. And I agree, the court cannot prove that the person who went to collect the barrel didn't know that it was only bully beef and tin mackerel in there and Irish Spring soap. Let's face it. The person can very well be innocent. And in a court, in a case like this, when it was not the person who packed the barrel, come out and pick it up, is a person who might not even have had a passport. So that conviction could never be safe. So I said it so, yes, and I was right. But that doesn't mean that anything you said is really makes any difference to what I said. So you then went on to say, you challenged me that you said, if you think it is so easy, then you need to tell us exactly what the police could have done or should have done to capture the perpetrators and gain convictions. You are just talking and you have nothing to add more than to just criticize people who are trying to do their very best at a very hard job. All right, fine. That's what you say. I'm taking up that challenge because before I even put out this post, I knew exactly what could have been done. But before I say exactly what should be done or what could have been done, let me repeat something that I keep repeating all my life, and I repeated on several occasions during problem-solving talks right here on this channel. I have said that if you take an ant, get a little, as we say, ants, but get one ant then, and you see him walking on some concrete place, and just get a stone and just mark a line around that ant. Just draw a circle around that ant, and he stays in the circle because the ant can sees a barrier, and with a barrier which is not even a barrier, and he thinks it's a barrier, and it will not go over that chalk mark or that stone mark. The same thing, if you get an ant and you put him on a sheet of paper and you mark the paper with a crayon or something like that, and that ants make a circle around that ants on that piece of white paper. The ants will go to the edge and search the edge right around the 360 degrees and will not come out. Just by walking off the paper, it won't. Because in the mind of an ant, there is no way off this piece of paper because there is a different coloration there and I can't move beyond that. But you see, when you think like an ant, or think like have the rationality of a flea, you cannot think about solving problems. You see things, you see barriers when there are no barriers existing. Now, this is the way that Fitz Bailey and his team thinks. This is the way the Minister of National Security thinks. And by extension, we should say also the Prime Minister, because no better herring, no better barrel. Now, there's another thing I have always said. Now, stay with me, people, because you see, when you come here, when you come to this channel, you come here to learn. This is a channel for intellectuals. This is a channel for people who are thinking people, who want to learn and who want to leave when you finish watching one of my videos. You must come away knowing something that you didn't know, something that can elevate you in life. That's what I'm here for. So here's what I'm going to tell you now. I want you to look at this. The Chinese have a symbol called Ouija. Now, Ouija is written, those little squiggle you see there, them crab toe looking something, is pronounced Ouija. Now, Ouija translates to crisis. And crisis, as we know a crisis, it's what the Chinese use and they translate it into their way to mean problems and opportunities. That's how they think of Ouija. When they have a Ouija, it means that they have a crisis and they see an opportunity to solve that problem, whatever is caused by the crisis. Yes. So we as Jamaicans, and most of the people who do not succeed at their jobs or succeed in their lives, is because when they see problem, they see it a reason to make an excuse to not do anything. And here, Fitz Bailey and his team, classic example that these people see a crisis as an excuse, as a reason to make an excuse not to do anything. So, guys, we must think like the Chinese and think that this is problems and an opportunity to fix the problems. So, guys, that squiggle, Ouija. All right, now let's move on. I'm going to move to Israel for a moment because, you know, what I like to do now is to give people an understanding, to let you understand. I'm going deep, but stay with me, people, because you're here to learn. You're here to learn. Now, in 1967, Israel fought a 6-day war. It had a war lasting for 6 days. At that time, Israeli population was like 2 million, and they were surrounded by like 200 million Arabs. And they fought against, simultaneously, 5 Arab countries: Egypt, Syria, Jordan, Iraq, and Lebanon. And won resoundingly, won hands down. All those countries capitulate, and Israel was not. And here why Israel won. It knew it had to win, and it had to find a way. And it's a problem surrounded by over 200 million Arabs when you only had a population of maybe 2.5 million, 3 million at the time, and you are deeply surrounded. These are the people in Syria. These countries had over 750,000 troops, 950 aircraft, 2,700 tanks. And Israel had nothing near that. Israel had like around 800 tanks to fight against 2,700. And Israel won. And I want to tell you, before I go any further, how, because this is leading to something, this is leading somewhere. I'm not just giving you this data just to take up space, but I want you to follow me in a logical and chronological and epistemological sequence. Now, here we go. When Israel made a first strike on Egypt and caught all of Egypt's aircrafts on the ground, destroying its entire air force on the ground. Because Israel knew that they had the largest number of aircraft, and he had to take out all those aircraft on the ground before they can come up in the air and bomb them, because Israel knew that there was only one chance, and it's to gain air superiority over the foes. And the only way it could do that was a first strike. So Israel did what it had to do. Now, how would Israel know when to strike? Israel had to know when the other countries were going to attack and how they were going to attack. And Israel had to find that out. How did they find it out? Israel knew that every man on earth had his price. Every man had his price. Every single human being has a price. Most of the information that Israel got in order to win that war, it came from who? Right from his enemies, from Arabs. Because Israel found Arabs in the military, in all aspects of Arab society, who were willing to take money to betray their own country. And Israel paid. There was no price too high that Israel would not pay to get information it needs to keep his country secure. Now, that's a very important thing to learn. When you know that every man has his price, and you do not put a cap on the amount of money you would pay to get the right information to keep your country safe. That's why Israel is here today. Or else in 1967 or 1953, they would have been pushed back into the sea. So let's continue. So how would we make use of that example? First of all, down by the wharf, you would have agents on the wharf. You would recruit agents on the wharf. People who look insignificant, people who just do the 9 to 5 and go home. I could give you specific people that I would choose, but I'm not going to do it here, because this is something that if the government was to take heed, could employ tomorrow morning. So I don't want to give that away. But you have people, there are people, specific people on the wharf that you could give a police basic salary, a starting salary of the Jamaica Constabulary Force. And you have several of those people working on the wharf, doing certain jobs that people would not think would be agents. And you recruit them, and every month they pick up a police salary. And their job is to suss out what's going on and tell you on a daily basis. You'll have several people, you'll have people working in all aspects. People who can photocopy documents, give you the lead on things, give you everybody's phone number, everybody's how they run their lives, and any suspected person who is breaching anything. You can get every information on everybody that you want down there, and you can check out everybody who is crooked. So getting that information is quite easy, but you'd have to be willing to pay for it. Now, what price for national security? So that's the first thing that short-sighted, flea-brained person wasn't thinking of. But here is what. When you get that information, it would be given on a what would you say, real-time basis. So every 24 hours, every 12 hours, that new information comes in and is fed into the system and translated, and you see where you go with that. Now, When a shipment comes in that contains guns, of course you have your agent working in the X-ray room, but the agent in the X-ray room would be promised at, I don't know, 250,000, 500,000 bonus if they find the guns and keep it quiet and keep the information secure. Everybody would get a bonus. Anybody, not everybody, anybody who can pass on the information, the crucial information regarding a shipment, get a significant bonus on top of the police salary that they are getting originally. In other words, you have to can pay them more money than what the gun runners are paying them, that the gun runners wouldn't even try, because if you pay over a certain amount, then there is no commercial value to the shipment and it would stop. So that would be the first step. And it can be done. Easy. The government can just recruit these people and pay them, put them in the budget. It doesn't cost anything extra. It doesn't. It's already in the budget, because they have contingency budget that can be just tabled and put that in automatically. So we move on. Once it is found, the person is notified who is to pick up, and that shipment is not isolated. It's put in the general area where everything is, and no watch would be on it, apart from cameras, of course. It would be put in a strategic place where cameras can pick it up, and those cameras are monitored in secret 24 hours a day to see who pass and look at it, who checks it in that time, and see if anybody looking around, snooping around to check on it to see if it's there, so you can actually feed that into your system as part of your suspects. Now, once that's done, when the person comes to pick it up, it's easy to get GPS tracking data bugs and place on the vehicle while they're inside searching out the shipment. That is easy. So you can place bugs on the vehicle, and you can place bugs neatly inside the shipment itself. Just in case the person who comes to pick up the barrel is not coming in a private vehicle, but maybe taking a vehicle that waiting outside the gate. You know you have higher edge pickups outside the gates waiting to pick up stuff. Somebody like that could probably be used. So you would put the tracking bug inside the actual shipping package, whatever package it is. Now, when that leaves, there has to be pre-organized a fleet of at least 6, but up to 8 vehicles, unmarked vehicles with police who were pre-arranged to say, listen, go about your normal daily tasks, but at a moment's notice, we can call you to come and do this. Now, take Montego Bay. Let's take Montego Bay. And let us in a worst case scenario, there can be many worst case scenario, but say this last shipment that come in, it was being picked up would have been picked up in Montego Bay. Now, when they pick up in Montego Bay, let's say they're coming to Kingston. They're not just going to a local place. They're coming straight into Kingston. What would happen is that you would have unmarked cars along the stretch to pick up that vehicle once that vehicle leaves the wharf with the shipment. You'd have one vehicle trailing for maybe 10 minutes, then another one take over, and then another one take over, and they will take turns behind the vehicle so they wouldn't pick up that there's a specific vehicle traveling. All of these vehicles, there's 3 first vehicles who are traveling behind that shipment. They would simply change places every 5-10 minutes and change places so that anybody who is looking out, if they are being trailed, would not pick up those 3 vehicles. In that space of time, if it's a private vehicle, the license plate would have been traced. And you would know exactly who the vehicle belongs to and where the owner lives. Now, once it reached into Kingston, I mean, this is where the vehicle tracking would become more important. But it can be done quite easily. Now, when the shipment reached at a certain home, so let's say Heavendale. Now, call down nothing by Heavendale, but we know crowbaits are everywhere. Once you see that the car drives into a home or drives onto a premises, what you do then is to have some men dressed like they are working on light wire, working on cable, for example. And they would climb on the light post outside the house and leave a camera. They would act like they're working with Flow or Digicel or some other kind of cable company or so, and simply climb a ladder. They have on the Flow symbol or whatever symbol, and just come up and just leave a camera, which is attached to some device somewhere where somebody is looking and checking who comes to the house, who leaves the house, how and so on and so forth. Record their faces, try to record in conversations, check the faces against faces that you capture in the video against face recognition programs. You will also note the number of that premises. And then when you note the number, you will then go get the folio number and the difference from the land val office to know exactly who owns that property and so on and so forth. And when you find out, run all the data from everybody who live on that premises. If you have to go through any data protection agency, or you have to run it through tax office, whatever, but find whatever you can on anything connected to the vehicle and the premises. Now, when the shipment lands, it would normally move. They would not normally move that shipment for maybe a day or two, just to be sure that it's secure. No, you're going to see a flurry of activities happening after the shipment lands, because people are going to want to come to check it to say, yes, it's safe and everything is all right. And watch the number, take the license number of every car that pulls up there. And check the faces of all those persons who come to check on the shipment. Now, if you see anybody leaving the premises with anything, then that is the time when you might be able to strike. They can't say they didn't know. And the person who picked up the shipment is still in the house when the box is open and all of that, you will have a much stronger case. In other words, and those people, when you find them, in the interest of national security, general police procedures should not apply. You take them out of the country and send them away to a country where it is legal to extract information by any means possible. Send them to Syria, send them to Jordan, to Iraq, to Pakistan, to somewhere that people will extract information at any cost. Send them to Guantanamo Bay. And when you get all the information, then you act. The point I'm making is, in this day, in this 21st century, when all of the modern technologies like GPS, like face recognition programs, where satellites, where everything, computerized thing can check on anybody and give you real life data and who owns what and who owns where and so on and so forth. And get into bank accounts. You can set up in a bank accounts, phone records, everything. And you are telling me that all you can do was simply decide to take the guns? And you, Mr. Shidiat, who thinks that nothing else could have been done. As I say, it is just based on the thoughts and the flea mentality that you have. And you use one word which lets me think that you are yourself a policeman. That same word, mens rea. Mens rea is not known to ordinary people. It's a word that's used by mostly lawyers or policemen. And you use the word mens rea, which means that you are probably a policeman yourself or ex-police or had some legal training. Now, I'm going to say this. Sir, whoever you really are, you are part of the problem because you think that nothing can be done. The government thinks that nothing can be done. And as for the lean mouth commissioner, that too insignificant to mention. No need to mention that because that is a non-entity in the whole scheme of things. So, guys, I have proven myself that this can be done, and I'm not just talk. I am substance. Oh, I think that came from another program now, but it applies to me right now. So, guys, thank you for listening. I know you end up learning some things that you never knew before. Like, share, leave a comment, and I look forward to seeing you in my next video.